In this chapter, we'll continue our deep dive into FICO's 5 scoring categories with a good close look at the category that's most important, 35% of your credit score. And that has to do with the timeliness of your payments. Continuing our deep dive into FICO's 5 scoring categories, we're going to look at payment history. Payment history comprises a full 35% of your credit score. And if you haven't figured out by now how important it is to be on time with paying your bills, then you're really wasting your time trying to get a better credit score, because there's nothing more important than making at least the minimum payments as they come due and keeping this part of your credit score as clean as you can. It's a part you have complete control over. Now, payment history is divided into 2 different sections. Half of it is your negative history, half of it is your positive history. That makes sense. Negative history, of course, is past delinquencies. Positive history is your on-time payments. We all, I'm sure that by this time looking at your credit report, you see all those little green OK blocks stretching way back, and that's exactly what the computer likes to see. Now, delinquencies, there's 3 things that are important to keep in mind about delinquencies. Their frequency, their severity, and their recency. Frequency means how often do you let a card go into delinquency? Is it a rare event? You won't get punished too badly for that, but it's still going to ding you. The Card Act gives you an extra 3 weeks grace period. So in essence, even 30 days late now is really 51 days. So don't use that as a crutch or to try to take advantage of that, but it's all the less reason why you should not ever not make at least a minimum payment. So the frequency with which you are late is a very important category. The severity, it means just what it sounds like. Are you 30 days late? Are you 60 days late? Are you 90 days late? Are you 180 days late? The severity gets more and more important. Once you get to 90 days, it becomes really negative. So as far as severity is concerned, if you have slipped up and you can't get it forgiven by the card company, you've got to get it in as soon as you can, not let it get too far deeply into the severe category. Next thing that's important to consider is that the fact of an aggregate of lesser late scores can be just as bad as one big late score. In other words, 10 30s, 4 60 days late, 1 90-day late, they can all be just as bad as a 180-day late. So if you have a bunch of different late scores, that's going to hurt you too, because it's judged in the aggregate. And finally, the recency is a very important thing. All credit negatives lose their power to hurt you as they age, including late payments. The age lessens their power. If it's 6 months, that's one thing. If it's 6 years, that's quite another thing. Every year, it seems to lose a little bit of its power, whether it's 12 months, whether it's 24 months, whether it's 36 months, it gets progressively weaker. Another thing you might want to keep in mind is that inactive accounts don't get scored as highly. By that I mean if you have credit cards that you just kind of throw in the sock drawer and don't use for many months at a time, not only do you run the risk that it might get canceled, but it also is not helping your credit score as much as it should, especially if it's at a 0 balance, showing that you're not using a bad debt to available credit ratio. So make sure that you at least charge a tank full of gas or a pizza once in a while and then pay it right away, just to keep it active. So I hope this helps with this particular category, and we're going to take a deeper dive into the other 3 categories next.